Hello everybody, this may be my last vlog post for quite some time, if even at all. But don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% sure. So, that being said, I will go into the topic for today. I recently read the Bible online, and I gotta say, it was quite deep. There were some things in there that even as a Christian I did not even know. And I do want to also make it aware that I was reading the King James Version of the Bible. So I know there are so many types or versions of the Bible told by Peter, Michael, Jude or Judas, other apostles. There's so many versions of the Bible from different points of view from the people that knew Jesus. So I just want to let you know again, this is the King James Version, the reaction to the King James Version. So I started reading it in bits and pieces because I can't read it all at once. First, to be intrigued by what is the first line of the Bible, because I never actually knew it, and after some time I was like, you know, I've never known what is in the Bible, and I've been a Christian all my life. Maybe it's time to find out. And indeed it was time. And the first line of the Bible is that God is the creator of everything, of man, of the world, of life. He's the creator. And that was the first two lines. And he had apostles that followed him, of course, and those were the characters as told in the Bible. What was an interesting point that I read is that a woman needs to marry a man who is circumcised. And I know this was written, thousands of years ago. And there actually have even been alterations in the Bible as recent as 1965, which was even 53 years ago. But that recent from something that's thousands of years old is, even there have been adaptations in the last half a century. And I felt that was a very interesting point because it truthfully doesn't matter, circumcision, but from a guy's point of view, it is better to be circumcised or have been circumcised at birth, just for the cleanliness of sex. And another interesting point that I found was about food that was the bread of the land, and how everybody got greedy. The apostles, Jesus, his wife, everybody was eating all the food and so amazed at the quantity and quality of it that they just kept eating, and they got spoiled from so much food, which is very interesting to note because we have that kind of mindset here in the 21st century. It's like I keep thinking of the Grinch, how the Grinch Stole Christmas in 2000, the movie adaptation, when Lulu Who says, "I'm glad he took our presents. I'm glad the food is gone," because later in the Bible, the food was gone. God took it away because of the greediness. Oh, you're glad that everything is gone, but sometimes the what's the word I'm looking for? Oh man, it's right on the tip of my tongue. The vices, that's it, the vices that are placed in front of us, sometimes we need to go without it. Maybe we don't need to have a cell phone right now, or we don't need to have Dolce and Gabbana bags. I mean, those are more material things than food. I mean, we need food to survive, but we don't necessarily need our food from Whole Foods or I can't even think of another one. I can't say another chain because they're local. So God took it away because of that greed, which, is very relatable to politics of today. Very much so. I was also quite surprised about how many times they use the word ass and asses. I didn't know the Bible even used curse words like that thousands of years ago, or anything that was written that time of ancient literature. And being Armenian, I was surprised that Mount Ararat was used extensively as references, where they climbed to get the food, where they traveled, kind of like Canaan, the Canaanites, all that stuff as well. And it was just interesting. I didn't know Armenia was that heavily influenced by the Bible. I mean, I'm sure in Catholicism, Armenia is not referenced in their Bible, or what Bible they follow. I'm not even sure, because I'm not Catholic, but I just found that to be pretty interesting, of that reference. And when Jesus said about your marriage that you must feed your wife first and foremost before you feed yourself. If you feed yourself, you're damned to spend your life in hell. Same thing with the kids. You got to feed the wife and kids first before you feed yourself. Otherwise, you're gone. Which is a little harsh, but that's how society was thousands of years ago, I'm sure. And it took me several days to read this, but I did it slowly but surely, and I guess I was kind of expecting the ending, in which God dies and he's being buried by the apostles and his sons and grandsons and wife and stepdaughter, step kids, the whole 9 yards. It goes on and on and on. Step. Great. It'll keep going on and on. And another big point is that God has a beginning. He was born to parents. Mary is the mother of God. The nativity scene is proof that God has a beginning. He's not just a figment of our imagination. I know some Jewish people and Muslims may disagree with that because in their belief God doesn't exist, or they believe only in his power as a spirit, not as an actual person with a life or a beginning, any sort of that nature. But I don't want to get too into that because that'll spark heavy debate. And I'm sure many of you have different affiliations, whether you're Catholic, Lutheran, Episcopal, Pentecostal, Seventh-day Adventist, Latter-day Saints, Eastern Orthodox, which I am, Greek Orthodox, which is the same actually, pretty much everything else. There's so many affiliations of Christianity. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem marrying someone that's not Eastern Orthodox or Armenian Apostolic, which is also what I am. They can be, I'd rather they just be Christian. I mean, they can be Jewish if they want, but I'd rather marry a Christian girl. And for you Christian girls out there, I am single and I am looking. So if you're interested, drop me a line either on the Facebook page or on the YouTube page, but no spam, please. None of that garbage and bullshit. I don't really need that. So here ends the reading. That is my reaction of the King James Version of the Bible. And I gotta say, it was deep. And it was pretty enjoyable to read, even though most of it was in Old English. So I had to read it a little bit slower in that case. But, of course, I want to know what you guys think. Drop me a line on that as well. And I don't know when my next blog post will be, as I said earlier in the video, but I will definitely keep you posted on any updates on every move and every place I go to. I will make sure to keep everybody updated on my whereabouts and what I'm doing. There's going to be a lot of changes coming in the next few months, and looking to start a new life and everything like that. And I mean, we'll see what happens. A lot of unknowns. And again, here ends the reading. So have a good night, everybody, and Godspeed.